Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Central Basketball Talk podcast. My name is JJ, and this podcast is going to be me and two of my friends, Ethan and Rod. We're going to be discussing both current events and the history of the NBA. So if you listen to this episode and you like what you hear, I'd appreciate it if you drop a like and subscribe and even leave a comment down below. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the two recent Game 7s that we've seen and our conference finals previews and predictions. Enjoy the video, guys. All right, so let's start off by talking about the first Game 7 that happened yesterday. We had the Celtics and Bucks. Obviously, Ethan and I, both being Celtics fans, came away from the game feeling very happy. The Celtics came away with a 28-point victory. Any initial reactions from the two of you about the game?
For starters, Giannis still doing whatever he wants for the most part, but he did look off yesterday.
Oh, I don't know about
it. Did look off.
I don't know if I'd say doing anything he wants. I mean, he was 10 of 26. Sure, he had 25 points and 20 rebounds, which is obviously ridiculous. But he didn't look like the Giannis that we'd come to know over the past two seasons, especially in the finals last year. He looked nothing like it.
I wouldn't say all that.
I mean, obviously, games 1 through 6, he was dominant, right? Like, we had nothing that we could stop him with. But in this game
Grant,
7...
Oh, we'll get to Grant in a little bit.
In this game 7, would you credit that more to the Celtics playing good defense against Giannis? Or Giannis was just off? He just had a bad game, probably from fatigue.
I think the Bucks got exactly what they wanted. 4 for 33. Nobody would be talking about the Giannis game if the Bucks hit 12 of those threes instead of 4.
Yeah, so, but the way Giannis plays, he should not be shooting 38.5% from the field.
Well, obviously he's tired. I mean, obviously it was a hella physical series the whole way through.
Oh yeah.
Listen, he was just missing shots because you got to admit there was sometimes he was going into the paint and he was just hitting it too hard.
Yeah.
I think at some point towards the end of the game he just started getting tired. I think if you really just look at how he played, he was just tired overall.
On more than one instance, Giannis blew a, no exaggeration, wide open layup.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. As soon as that started happening, I knew the Bucks had no chance.
No. What really started killing them was, okay, so I remember there was one play in the game where you're Bobby Portis, right? You have to post up on Peyton Pritchard. You're not supposed to just, he just shot over Peyton Pritchard.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to post him up, take him down to the paint and dunk on him. You just can't do that if you're Bobby.
I don't know if I'd identify that as the point that I knew the Celtics were going to win. That seems kind of like a...
because it was in their head.
That, yeah.
It was in their head.
You can't let PP off the hook right there, yeah.
Hey, yeah. PP's a hooper. You know what? Let's talk about Peyton Pritchard's fourth quarter yesterday. I mean, he was on fire in that fourth quarter. He turned to the camera, had that iconic moment of, this is what I do. In the fourth quarter, he was 4 of 6 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, and had 11 points. Rod, you have been a vocal Peyton Pritchard hater in the past. What did you think about his final quarter yesterday?
I don't know, man. Malachi Flynn would have had 14 points if he had those type of shots.
He would not have.
Peyton
Pritchard, man. He was making shots off the dribble, hit a deep step back 3 over Drew Holiday, who, as I'm sure you're aware, as he showed at the end of Game 5, he is one of the best defenders in the entire league.
Listen, for any brave, daring soul that decides to listen to this, okay? This man, Rod, right here, is a Raptors fan. Just point that out there right now. The Raptors fan that preys on the Celtics' downfall every single year, yet the Raptors have done worse.
I don't know if you can say
the past
that.
2 years.
I mean, besides the Kawhi fluke, what else have you guys done? Blow it to LeBron?
Been better than y'all before that.
Blow it to LeBron? Years. Yeah, but, you still get the little dinosaurs.
Well, okay.
LeBron owes you guys.
Didn't he beat y'all back-to-back years in the conference finals?
We had a rookie season, Jason Tatum.
We did have rookie Jason Tatum.
Yeah,
literally peaked right then. Y'all won 3 games.
You're saying that was our peak?
Yeah, you won 3 games in the conference
finals. What are we doing right now? The Celtics
are about
to win.
No, we'll get into it. We'll save it. Let's talk more about this Game 7. So Jason Tatum, obviously, another solid performance. He got into foul trouble with about 8 minutes left in that third quarter. So his stats aren't really reflective of what he was truly doing. Didn't have to play much in the fourth. Ethan, you are one of the biggest Jason Tatum fans I know. What do you think about his game 7?
I mean, I think he was just like stellar. I mean, 5 for 9 from the three.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. And he was just doing it whenever he wanted. Everyone was feeding Grant.
Grant Williams. I was saving him for last. But
no, we're not going to get into him yet.
No, I think we need to talk about Grant. Jason Tatum's performance was expected. I mean, he started 4-4 from 3, cooled off a little, was 1 for his next 5.
That second quarter foul, whenever that take foul.
The frustration foul.
Yeah,
he felt like he should have gotten the call on the layup. Instead, he turned, and I think it was Drew Holiday. He just kind of pushed him over for no reason.
I wasn't mad at Ime using that timeout towards the end of the quarter on his third foul. I wasn't mad about that because it's like it's either you get your third foul, or like either way, it was a win-win. So you had nothing to lose there.
See, I disagree. I disagree. That was a terrible, terrible challenge in my opinion. I mean, there was no shot that play was overturned, and then. Was it his fourth foul? I think had a much better chance of being overturned. The offensive foul where he hit Connaughton, there was illegal contact by Connaughton first. If Udoka still had his challenge there, he uses it, and Tatum never has to sit the last 8 minutes of the quarter. But it doesn't matter because the Celtics came away with the win anyway. I don't think I have too much more to say about the game. Obviously, just a wire-to-wire performance. Oh, Grant Williams, of course.
Yeah,
we have to talk about the unlikely hero. A man who went from missing his first 25 career three-pointers with the Celtics in the NBA. He went from missing his first 25 to taking 18 three-pointers in a game 7.
I want to get Rod's reaction to it because at least we've been through the ups and downs of Grant. But Rod, as an outside spectator, what do you think about his performance?
It was magical. I've never seen flashes of Kelly Olynyk game 7 against the Wizards, but better. I've never seen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, the Bucks really executed their game plan to perfection. They forced Grant Williams to beat them. He did.
That's exactly what he did.
He did, but I mean,
I don't quite understand. I know Milwaukee's entire defense is about letting the other team shoot the 3, force them to knock down these big shots. But Grant Williams has been a sharpshooter from outside the arc all year long. I get that he's young. This was arguably the biggest game of his life. I don't understand why you're leaving a 40% three-point shooter open every time down the floor.
No, I liked it, though. I think it worked, honestly, because what they finished with 109 in the game. I mean, if you're holding a team at home in game 7 to 109, I think.
But you're trying to hold the best defensive team to 109.
If I'm going into a game and you told me beforehand that we would hold a team to 109 and we had Giannis, I'd like my chances. I mean, 4 for 33 from 3. You can't get over that, bro.
It's terrible.
We're talking about trying to beat the best defensive team in the league. And you're telling me that you have to hold them to 109 points. That means you have to work your butt off just to hold them to 109 points. To then have to score on the other end, I mean, that just wears out your players.
But bro, Pat Connaughton, Wesley Matthews, Grayson Allen, 2 for 15 combined, bro. That's not Celtics' great defense. That's just the 3 of them missing wide open shots.
If you watch the game,
can you really say that though?
I mean, that's not any different from giving Grant Williams open shots. It's just that Grant Williams, he took 18 by himself. But
this is the difference. Those shots they were taking weren't necessarily open. I mean, there was
Pat Connaughton was taking
every time.
Yeah, Pat Connaughton made his 1-3 off of. Oh, sorry, he didn't even make a 3. My bad. His one shot. Yeah, he made it off of a layup, I think, right at the basket. So that was okay. But I mean,
Pat Connaughton typically makes difficult threes, though. He pulls up if he has a little bit of space. You cannot account for your 3 spot up shooters to combine for 2 for 15. And then Grant Williams shoots 7 for 18 by himself.
Rod, I just wanted to loop back to the point you made about the Bucks holding the Celtics to 109 points being enough to get it done in game 7. Throughout the whole series, out of the 7 games they played, how many times do you think the Bucks scored 109 points or more?
I don't know, probably twice.
They did it once in Game 5 when they won 110-107. So I'm gonna have to disagree with your point about holding the Celtics to 109. That's their game plan.
But a lot of that was in the fourth quarter when it was already over. Like, if it was like, what was it after the third quarter? If it was like within 5 points going into the fourth, I don't think the Celtics scored one. I'm just saying.
Well,
I like the Bucks game plan, though. That's just what I'm saying. They just didn't execute offensively.
The Celtics ended the game running a pick and roll behind Malik Fitz and Luke Cornett. Like, you're not gonna expect many points out of that. I get what you're saying about the Bucks not trying, but we had Neesmith knocking down threes at the end of the game.
Exactly. That's how you knew it was bad. There was no way.
All right. Well, is there any final comments about the Celtics' huge Game 7 blowout?
No.
Ethan,
by the skin of your teeth without Chris Middleton.
Superstar Jason Tatum. That's all I gotta say.
Top 5 Tatum. When he gets a cut, he's
top 5 Tatum. And Grant, Grant's got to be up there in the 25 at this point.
He's got to be one of the craziest turnarounds in a single player's career history, going from missing your first 25 to taking 18 in a Game 7.
That'll be written in the history books.
It sure will. Celtics fans will forever remember Grant Williams in that game. But let's move on to the other Game 7, which was far more shocking than this one. I was surprised when the Celtics came away with a 28-point victory, but the Mavericks dismantling the 64-win Suns in Phoenix, winning by 33. I want to say they were up by as much as 46.
They were, I think,
it
sometime in the fourth, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It was almost 50. I remember that.
It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but I think it's time to say it. Luka's here. Luka, this is going to sound crazy, and I know I'm going to catch heat for this. At this point in the NBA season, Luka is the best player left.
He's playing the best.
He is the best player left.
He's on fire, but he's just not. I mean, do you forget that Stephen Curry?
Sure, Steph Curry's there, right?
He's
been great throughout his whole career. One of the greatest, if not the greatest point guards to ever do it. But you cannot look me in the face and say this year's playoffs, he's been better than Luka.
No, he hasn't. But at any given moment.
Yeah, Steph's
got a higher ceiling. Player. Steph's got a higher ceiling. He's the greatest shooter to ever walk on.
I wouldn't even say he has a higher ceiling. Steph can't get a 40-point triple-double. Luka can, but Luka has not reached Steph levels of impact just by being on the court. Steph cannot touch the ball and get somebody a wide open dunk or a layup. Luka doesn't have that yet.
Okay.
I don't think he ever will.
Let's talk
Luka
more
doesn't have that movement like Curry does. I'm sorry.
We'll wait a little bit.
That's conference finals preview.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about this in a bit. But the performance Luka put on yesterday was ridiculous. He had as many points as the entire Suns team at halftime.
Yeah,
Listen, I got to make a bold statement too. I just don't think that CP3 is going to be held as high as he is anymore after this performance.
You think this tarnishes his legacy?
Last year, I think actually helped his legacy. This year definitely was.
I mean, I don't see how this could fail, or I don't see how this could not tarnish his legacy, because this was just flat out embarrassing.
He got outplayed by Jalen Brunson in a playoff series. No shame in it. It just happened.
I mean, ever since it's probably just coincidence, but ever since Chris Paul turned 37, he went from Chris Paul to Cliff Paul. Like we weren't even seeing the same point guard out there. I don't know what was going on with him. Do you think
he probably got laced at his birthday party or something, and he wasn't the same?
Okay.
Do you think he had some sort of ailment or injury, or do you think he's just an all-time greatest seller ever?
He might have pulled a John Wall and
I think it's just the pressure. No, I think it's just the pressure. I don't think he can live up to it, because look what happened with the Clippers. Remember all those years?
I mean, yeah, there's collapse after collapse. The one year he should have won a ring, he got hurt in Houston.
Yeah, but that was whenever James Harden was arguably the best player.
He was the second best player on the Rockets. He's the best player on the Suns.
He was still hooping. I mean, he was essential to that run.
Yeah, but still, obviously. He said in his post-game interview, he said, it's my job as the point guard to come out and get us in the right sets and have us taking the right shots. He said he didn't do that.
Listen, I have a lot of respect for Chris Paul, because I think he is the best at point guard position. I think he is the best at facilitating, doing everything that the team needs him to do. but I truly think that he just will never be able to get over the hump of a championship.
If he couldn't do it last year, there's just no way.
So you think it's Chris Paul's personal shortcomings, and
I
not
think
so
it's,
much
yeah.
as not the teams built around him. You think that the rosters are solid enough?
No, because
Definitely,
this
yeah.
Suns team was built almost perfectly. Like you can go 8 deep with this Suns team, easy.
Oh
You
yeah,
can have a full rotation. So
You
I don't
could go
think there was
10
any
deep,
problem.
You could argue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, well, we do have to talk about 8 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
You could talk about the whole starting lineup.
This is what I wanted to segue into. I think it was Kevin Harlan on the call last night was saying in these game sevens, you need your young guys to really shoulder the load, especially early in the game, set the tone. Chris Paul always gets his teammates involved early. So feed Ayton, feed Booger, excuse me, feed Booker the 66% of the big three, and neither of them were even close to looking competent offensively. So, I mean, Chris Paul, obviously, he had, I think, 3 points at halftime or 1 point at halftime, something terrible.
The starters had 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 at halftime.
Mm-hmm. But Booker and Ayton combined for 5 of 19 in a game 7. As much as Chris Paul was not good, I think the fingers really got to be pointed at Mr. 3 for 14, Devin Booker. He's supposed to be the next Kobe.
Yeah, I've not seen nearly as much of the Chris Paul blame as I've seen, or vice versa. Devin Booker has not got nearly as much blame as Chris Paul for this loss.
Which I think is unfair, especially with all the trash talking he was doing to Mr. Doncic on the other side.
He tried to deny it in the post game.
Yeah. But I don't think any other word can be used to describe this game 7 other than shock.
Everyone was in shock, dude.
It's really magical. It's like a perfect blend of just like you have to be extremely unlucky for everybody to just have an off game at the same time. But then for the Mavericks to also be clicking on all cylinders and not let up whatsoever throughout the whole game, it's amazing, honestly.
Listen, another thing that hasn't been noticed as much, but that trade for Spencer Dinwiddie and getting rid of Porzingis has to be one of the best trades.
That's definitely been noticed and talked about a lot. I mean, Dinwiddie
and Suns Jazz if they still had Tingus Pingus, bro.
Dinwiddie in 25 minutes scored 30 points on 11 of 15 shooting, 5 of 7 from 3. I mean, that kind of impact off the bench you can't get from 99.9% of the players in the NBA. So that trade was obviously genius.
Derek White.
We're not going to talk about Mr. White. That trade was obviously genius, especially considering Porzingis' history of shortcomings in the playoffs. I mean,
it's not even just that stellar. Spencer Dinwiddie has been like amazing because he's had a lot of playoff games where he just flat out has disappeared. It's just they're able to play so much faster with like Dwight Powell at center compared to fucking Porzingis, and they don't have any more of those useless Porzingis post ups now.
I mean,
it has more space.
Sounds crazy, but give me Maxi Kleber over Kristaps this playoff. Maxi Kleber's been a sharpshooter.
He almost died in game 1 or 2.
He did almost die. He's giving himself some slurp, but
he's been so solid though. I love the Mavericks team. It's such a good story without Tim Hardaway Jr.
But yeah, to summarize the Suns' night, their leading scorer was Cam Johnson with 12 points,
and he
followed by Devin Booker with 11, and third was Ish Wainwright. Wainwright had 10 points, tied with Chris Paul for third leading scorer on Phoenix in that game 7.
I don't think I've ever seen a team in my lifetime come out as flat as the Suns did in a game 7 at home too.
It was shocking.
When your own fans leave at halftime of a game 7, like that's rough.
That's just embarrassing.
It's inexcusable. There's nothing you can say to defend it. I don't know anything anyone could say to be like, oh yeah, that's reasonable.
Do y'all want to talk about DeAndre Ayton's contract situation this offseason?
Nah, I just don't think we should get into
Save it for another day.
Yeah.
All right. You guys want to move into that conference finals previews? All right. So let's start off by talking about the Celtics and the Heat Eastern Conference Finals this season. In the regular season, the Celtics lead the series 2-1. However, in that first game, the Heat were still starting Duncan Robinson. Romeo Langford played 27 minutes for the Celtics. The Celtics ended up winning by 17. Jaylen Brown led the Celtics with 17, and Jimmy Butler led the Heat with 20. Their second matchup of the year was January 31st, so this time the Celtics started getting, their rhythm, that crazy second half they had. Celtics ended up winning by 30 points that game. However, the Heat were without both Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry. Jaylen Brown led the Celtics with 29. Max Strus led the Heat with 27. But you got to question, how much you want to pay attention to that, because they were obviously without their best player. And game 3, the Heat did win 106-98 in Boston. This was the Celtics' second game after Robert Williams tore his meniscus, so maybe there's still some adjusting there. And Jaylen Brown once again led the Celtics with 28 points. Jimmy Butler led the Heat with 24 that game. One thing to look at this year's Jason Tatum, obviously top 5 Tatum, his averages against Miami this season have been less than stellar, to say the least. He's averaging 18, 8, and 4 on 42, 29, 72 splits. Whereas Jaylen Brown, ice and fire, he's averaging 25, 6, and 3 on 46, 48, 87 splits. And Jimmy Butler is averaging 22, 4, and 2 on 48, 0% from 3. He has yet to make a 3 against Boston this year, and 63% from the line. So those are the stats. That's what's happened so far when they've matched up this year. I want to get both of your guys' initial reactions. Who's going to win this series and in how many games?
I'll start off. First of all, I think it's kind of interesting because both of these teams didn't really start out too hot, but they both kind of found their stride. The Heat dealing with a lot of injuries at first, and the Celtics dealing with Romeo Langford. So, but in the playoffs, they've both been really solid. I think, especially considering that the Heat have home court, first time the Celtics won't have home court so far this postseason.
Yeah, because they needed it against Brooklyn.
Okay, and also the fact that the Heat have finally benched Duncan Robinson and unleashed Oladipo off the bench, maybe as a starter in game 1 with no Lowry. We'll see. But I think the Celtics have not played a team like the Heat so far this postseason. The Heat are too versatile. The Celtics don't have anybody of a Joel Embiid caliber that the Heat have to divert that much focus to. So I'm going to go with my ultimate conclusion of the Heat in 6. Mid difficulty.
Okay. Before Ethan says anything, because I know he really wants to say something. Now, you say the Celtics don't have anyone of a Joel Embiid caliber.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Nobody that the Heat have to divert any more attention to than usual.
So you're saying, can I ask you a question? Did you watch game 6 of the conference semifinals?
Are you trying to tell me that?
Now, I'm not saying Jason Tatum is better than Joel Embiid, because he's not.
Yeah.
But you cannot say that Jason Tatum is some pedestrian player that doesn't require any additional defensive attention.
He's not. But give me Max Strus or Jimmy Butler or Oladipo or Gabe Vincent for an extended period of time. I don't need to send a double towards Tatum. We'll be fine.
So you think Gabe Vincent can hold Jason Tatum?
For a stretch. I mean, he's a point guard.
How long is a stretch?
30 seconds.
You think Gabe Vincent can guard Jason Tatum one-on-one for 30 seconds?
Bro, that's the matchup they're trying to exploit.
Nah,
there'll be multiple games where Jason Tatum guards Jason Tatum when he shoots 3 for 19 or something. So
you're calling a bad series from Tatum?
I'm calling a worse series than he's played against the Bucks and the Nets so far.
Okay.
It's the worst series of the postseason.
Ethan, go ahead.
So I don't know if you've been watching the past 2 series, but basically the Bucks and the Nets game plan was double team Tatum, have the other guys beat us. Mm-hmm. So the Heat are gonna have that same exact game plan. You're gonna double team Tatum.
They're gonna have the same game plan as the 2 teams that lost.
That's exactly what they're gonna do, because the only thing you can do is double team Tatum. You don't want him one-on-one. You want Tatum one-on-one? Bro, you try and guard him one-on-one. Yeah, exactly. You couldn't even guard Alfredo one-on-one. Anyway, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
For context, how tall is Alfredo? What is he? 5'4"?
Roughly.
Besides the point.
Anyways,
Ethan, who's winning this series and in how many games?
I understand that we may not get top 5 Tatum, but I think we'll get like top 10 Tatum. I think Jaylen Brown's going to be an X factor because he's got to step it up from the last series. And Robert Williams is also someone to look at. So I, at the end of the day, think that Celtics are going to win in 6.
I may be a little biased. We are both, in fact, Celtics fans, diehard.
I couldn't.
But I'm gonna have to agree. The Celtics are gonna win this series in 6 because I agree with you. Jaylen Brown has to be huge in this series. Looking back at their season's history, he's been the leading scorer for the Celtics in every game they played, and he's been just average so far in these playoffs. Like, he's had those games where you're like, yeah, Jalen's hooping, but you've also had those
quarters,
games where
not
it's like
games. He has those quarters.
It's also like, Jalen, it might be time for you to take a seat on the bench for a few minutes, maybe try and get your shooting stroke down. But Robert Williams is going to be quintessential to the Celtics' success in this series because Jimmy Butler obviously loves to get to the hoop. He shoots a lot of free throws. If that rim is locked down by the likes of Rob Williams and Big Al Horford, the Heat are going to struggle. And when they struggle, they're not going to win. And when they don't win, the Celtics are going to win. And when the Celtics win, they win in 6 games. So that's what's going to happen in the series. Simple as that.
No. Look, the Celtics have not played a team like the Heat so far whatsoever. You cannot just send 2 players to any person on the Heat and tell the other guys to beat you. The Heat don't have a KD. They don't have a Giannis. I'll give you that. But they also don't have a goddamn Wesley Matthews or Bruce Brown. I'm not even going to disrespect Bruce Brown.
Hey, Bruce
but
Brown
they don't have anybody that you can just leave and for a fact they're going to sell. The Heat team basketball is better than the Celtics team basketball.
No. Oladipo has been streaky. As much as he's been good coming back from his injury, he's been a bit streaky. In that last game, he only scored 4 points. Keep in mind, with 19 minutes, that's on par with Derek White. Think about that.
Don't matter.
Okay, and then after the bubble series, right? After the bubble series, Tatum basically owns Tyler Hero. Think about that. And all of their matchup, Tatum just brings him down to the rim and just does whatever he wants. So at the end of the day, your 6th man of the year isn't going to be your 6th man because he's going to be out of the play. Like, he's going to be out of the game.
I'm okay with that. They don't need Tyler.
You're going to tell me that you're going to hope for Adebayo to be able to make all his middies because he's not getting in the paint without Horford there. Adebayo is not going to be in that paint like you
don't know about that, Ethan.
Oh, come on.
Nah,
he's on thin ice.
Al's going to barbecue chicken compared to Giannis, bro.
Oh, you're saying, when you compare Bam to Giannis, obviously he's not going to be as good as Giannis. That's like
exactly. That's what I'm saying. And then you got Jaylen Brown on Butler, and then you don't even have Lowry game 1. So what? You're gonna hope Max Strus hits 9 threes for you?
Max Strus is a hooper, and he's already a starter. So
he should have been a Celtic. He was on the Celtics practice squad in the beginning of the season, and they dropped him. They dropped him for Celtics. Guess who?
Who did they drop him for, Ethan?
Who did we pick up that I was so happy about? And then he ended up being
Don't say Jabari Parker.
For Jabari Parker.
That's terrible.
They picked up Jabari instead of Max.
That was in the Brad Stevens era too, wasn't it?
You shouldn't have divulged that.
That was this season. That was like the beginning of the season.
That's terrible.
That's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, I think the matchups work perfectly in the Celtics' favor.
Ethan, I know your answer to this question. It's the same as mine, but I want to ask Rod's hating ass this question.
Mm-hmm.
In the Celtics and Heat series, it's often said that the best player, whichever team has the best player in a series, ends up winning that series just because they have the best player. Who's the best player in this series?
I am predicting Jimmy Butler will be the best player in this series.
Okay. So you think Butler's going to outperform Tatum?
Easily, yes.
I don't agree, but I'm not saying it's not going to happen.
I think they'll be unequal. I think they're going to be just crossing out each other, scratch them off the box score. I think they're going to be on par with how bad they're going to play compared to how they usually should. I think Jaylen Brown is going to be the one that picks up the load for the Celtics.
I hope so.
he has to learn to facilitate still, because that's one thing he's not doing. He's not facilitating the ball like the team's supposed to be doing.
I will give the Celtics that. The Heat don't have a secondary wing player that can attack and get to the teeth. Like they don't have a Jaylen Brown. But I do think let's just compare the Heat spot up shooters to the Bucks spot up shooters. The Celtics could afford to give
Connaughton?
Grayson Allen, Connaughton, Wesley Matthews threes. If you give Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, Tyler Hero open threes, you're gonna lose easily.
Yeah, but
they
get
weren't
this.
open.
Why? Well, some of them were open, but why were they open? Because we were throwing double teams at Giannis. You think we're gonna be throwing double teams at PJ Tucker, at Jimmy Butler, bro?
Watch what PJ Tucker does to the
All right,
bro.
Do you think PJ
Tucker's
Tucker's going to be
there for defense? He's not there for any type of
do you think
good offense.
They're going to put Butler on Brown and Tucker on Tatum?
I think that's what
what they're likely.
That's
to
what
do.
I would do.
They're gonna give they're gonna give him the KD treatment with was it KD? Yeah, when PJ guarded KD.
So if they do that, let's assume their starting five is Oladipo, Strus, Butler.
They'll start Vincent. Probably.
All right, so Vincent, Strus, Butler, Tucker, Adebayo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say the Celtics start Smart, Brown, Tatum, Williams, Horford, like they have all year when they're healthy. If they match up like that, Tucker on Tatum, Butler on Brown, you're presumably going to have Vincent on Smart. Is Strus guarding one of Rob or Al?
I could definitely see Strus holding Al on the perimeter, and then the Heat just switch if Horford decides to post up. Because Strus on Tatum, I'm living with that all day. Because Strus is big, he got size to him. So
is Markieff still hurt?
Yeah, he's not playing the series even if he's healthy. So yeah, don't worry about that.
I don't know.
And just one final thing: anyone you're predicting to have a surprisingly good series? Biggest surprise of the series?
Oh, one bold prediction from each of us for the series.
Mm-hmm. Essentially.
Okay. I think we will see multiple games from Oladipo where he'll turn back the hands of time and shock.
Rupture another quad.
Okay. He will shock the Celtics. That's mine.
Ethan?
Go JJ. Nah, you go first.
You want me to go? All right. You want my bold prediction? It's gonna revolve around the Celtics. Peyton Pritchard will have at least one 15-point game in this series.
Oh, come on. That's it.
Yeah.
PP with 15.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna happen. Either that or Rob Williams has a game with at least 6 blocks.
That's not crazy either.
It's not crazy. Look, all you said was Oladipo is going to play well a couple of games. Come on now.
No. I said multiple games where he turns back the hands of time. That's a lot different than Peyton Pritchard.
Well, Ethan,
points.
what is your great prediction?
I think that this series is going to go down to the wire every single game, like the Nets games. So I think that the Celtics could go up. There's a real possibility the Celtics could go up 2-0 at the Heat, but also could go down 0-2. I think that's how close these games are going to be. Just defensively, these teams are going to kill each other. And it's basically going to be like, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be who has the best players. So I think the Celtics will make it out. But I think either way, whoever wins these first 2 games will basically win the series.
No, I think the Heat are going to win, but I can guarantee the two of y'all that the Heat will lose at least one of these games by 30 points.
Let me tell you how the series is going to go. Game 1, Boston steals in Miami. Game 2, Miami defends home court. Game 3 and 4, he can't do nothing in the Garden. Boston fans are going to be in Jimmy's head.
Fans in the
Celtics are up 3-1 going back to Miami. Miami defends home court once again, but game 6, they got to go back to the Garden, and they ain't going to win in the Garden, and that's how the Celtics are going to win at 6. It's simple as that.
You think the Celtics are going to go 3-0 at TD Garden?
Yes. Book it.
Oh, if Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown don't go for the same rebound again.
Oh, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. Topic of Marcus Smart. He's questionable for game 1. How does that affect the Celtics? It's huge.
Not
isn't
at
it?
all. Not at all. Just plug in PP. Because who's Marcus
Nah,
Smart taking out this? Who's he going to guard? Oladipo? He's not
Gabe
even coming off the
Honest-
Vincent
bench.
honestly, they could try and put him on
on
Jimmy
Jimmy.
If he gets put
to
on
help
Jimmy,
out.
Jimmy is dropping 20 in the first.
No, they need Tatum on Jimmy. If Tatum
They
can
Nah.
shut down
dare
KD,
put
Tatum can
Smart on
shut
Jimmy
down Jimmy.
Butler.
No, I think they're gonna put at certain points Marcus Smart on Jimmy just to give like Tatum some breathers.
I mean,
He
yeah,
could
they'll have
hold
think they're
Jimmy
gonna
for a
have to-
possession or two.
It's just
but
basic. I mean, Smart was guarding Giannis on possessions this series. Like they're gonna put Smart on anyone.
Yeah.
All right. Any closing comments about Celtics Heat?
Heat and 6.
Nah,
Celtics in 6. All right.
Celtics for sure.
So we'll move into the Dallas Mavericks and the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. Something I certainly did not see coming. Let's talk a little bit about what they've done so far this season. Head to head, Mavericks lead the series 3-1. However, just like the Celtics, there's stipulations with the regular season games. Game 1, Mavs won by 17 in Dallas. Warriors were without Clay. This was before he returned. And Dallas still had the curse of Kristaps Porzingis. Still won. Luka played very well in that game, 26, 7, and 8. And Wiggins was actually the Warriors' leading scorer. Game 2, Warriors won by 38 in Golden State without Draymond. But once again, the Mavericks still had the awful Kristaps Porzingis. Luka once again a good game, 25, 8, and 3. And Curry led the Warriors with 18. Game 3, Mavs won by 6 in Golden State. Warriors once again without Draymond and Clay, but the Mavs ended up outscoring them 33-13 in that fourth quarter. So Warriors collapsed at home. Luka had a 34-point triple-double. Steph had 27, and their last time they met up was on March 3rd. Mavs won by 9 in Dallas. Warriors once again without Draymond. Luka had 41, 10, and 9. Steph had 21. This year against Golden State, Luka is averaging 32, 9, and 6 on 48, 38, 88 splits. And Steph Curry's averaging 28 and 7 on 39, 29, 67 splits. So initially, once again, who's winning the series and how many games is it going to take?
All right, listen, Mr. Boring Stats guy. I'm sorry, that was just hard to get through. Anyways,
What you mean?
I'm gonna give you the regular NBA viewer
The casual fan eye test.
I'm gonna give you the eye test.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you that this is gonna be a difficult series for the Mavericks.
Oh,
The Mavericks. The Warriors are gonna coast. Is that what you're telling me?
I just think that the Warriors have too many weapons that the Mavericks are just gonna be so tired after game 2. You're gonna have to play 2 games in Golden State. That's gonna be really hard to get through. And then you're gonna go back to home, which obviously I think game 3 they're gonna be able to defend it, but game 4 I think it's gonna be just a gentleman's sweep.
So you think it's gonna be 3-1 Warriors after 4 games?
I think Luka is a great player, top 10 player. He could be higher up there.
Top 5, easy.
We can debate that another day. But I think that overall he's gonna have an amazing series.
He always does.
Clay, you got Poole, you got Curry, and this will be the X factor for them. Wiggins will be their X factor because Wiggins has not performed since the All-Star break. So he really has to show up in this series, especially when you're going up against Jalen Brunson. Like, come on.
Oh, the GOAT.
Come on. And I mean, he's good offensively, great. Yeah, but come on. But I think overall, I think it's a gentleman's sweep for the Warriors.
Wow. Rod, your call?
I typically riot in the streets after most Ethan takes, but I gotta roll with him here. There's a lot of things going into the series, and I think all of them work in the Warriors' favor. First of all, the most important thing that nobody's talking about, Luka has never even played more than 7 playoff games in a single postseason. He's going off what? I know he missed the first couple in the Mavs series, but he's already at at least 10?
He has 10. Yeah, 10.
So 10. So this is already uncharted territory for Luka's body. And we know he's dealt with issues with staying in shape and stuff. So you cannot tell me that if this does go, 6 or 7, that he will not be extremely fatigued. But I don't think it's going to get there because this might be a super bold take, but I think this Warriors team is better than the first championship Warriors team for a litany of reasons, mostly because they have 4 guys who could score 25 points on any given night. And several of those guys also have the ability to guard Luka. Most importantly, like what Ethan was saying with Andrew Wiggins. Wiggins has, under the radar, been outperforming Steph in the playoffs so far. Not as far as the volume of shots he's getting, but the defense and the consistency. Wiggins has been so good for them.
I'm not gonna lie, Rob. That's a crazy take.
That, bro, watch what Wiggins does in this series.
Look,
okay, what you gonna say?
I get Steph has been not up to expectations this playoffs. They're winning, but he hasn't been great. But to say that Wiggins is outperforming Steph Curry,
not playing better, I'm just saying based off their expectations, Wiggins has exceeded his expectations so far in the playoffs, and Steph has been disappointing. He's not outplaying Steph, but
isn't that what you said though? He's been outperforming Steph
based on his expectations.
Okay, contrary or comparing it to their expectations,
yes.
Sure, Wiggins has been better. Okay, carry on.
The Warriors have never had a third guy, besides the KD years, obviously, that can go out and score 30 points in any given night. Jordan Poole, he can be their leading scorer in several games this year. I wouldn't be surprised. And then now we get to the 3 Hall of Famers on the Warriors in Steph, Clay, and Draymond. I mean, I don't think the Mavericks will keep the Warriors off the glass. I don't think they have enough guys defensively to slow the Warriors down. And I mean, if Luka wants to average a 30-point triple-double this series, go ahead. But I do not think the Mavericks supporting cast will hold up against the Warriors. So I got to agree with Ethan. I got the Warriors in 5. I don't know how it's going to happen. The Mavs, I don't think they steal one in the first 2 games, but maybe they take one at home. But Warriors in 5 to me.
You also got to look at the lack of interior presence for the Mavericks.
Yeah, the Suns let them off easy. DeAndre Ayton was not taking advantage.
I mean, you gotta really look at it. They just lack. Really, you're gonna tell me that Dwight Powell is gonna be your interior defender? Nah.
No.
Give me the Warriors.
So before I give my prediction on what's going to happen in the series, I just want to go back to something that Rod said. You said they have 4 different guys, the Warriors, who could drop 25 points on any given night, correct?
Any given night.
So you have Steph Curry,
Steph, Clay, Wiggins, and Jordan Poole.
So you say Andrew Wiggins.
Any given night, 25.
Any given night could drop 25.
Yep, if they need him to.
In the year of 2022, that's going back to January 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Wiggins has 2 games of 25 points or more.
He's their 4th option.
Both exactly 25.
He's literally their 4th option. That is a great 4th option.
No, I get that. But if Andrew Wiggins goes out and drops a 25-point game this series, I would be very surprised.
I would not.
I'm going to go out and say that. And now I'm going to move into my prediction, which I have been on the fence about. This is unpopular. You guys seem to think the Warriors have this easily. I think this series is going 7 games. I think the Mavericks are being overhated. They just took down a 64-win Suns team, which, yes, I'll admit, they were disappointing those last 2 games especially. But since 2022, Dallas has been the 2nd best team in the entire NBA. Defensively, they've gotten much better. Offensively, they're flowing. They have the best player in the series. I'll say it once. I'll defend it. I see this going 7, and I think Dallas could steal the series in 7, but they will come up just short, and Golden State will defend home court in a thrilling Game 7 where Luka puts up 40, 10, and 10.
You know what? Luka could be the best player in this series. Can you please explain to me how the Warriors are not scoring 115 per game with little difficulty?
Oh, they're not going to meet all that much resistance, but Dallas can hang with them offensively.
No. No.
Yes, they can.
Warriors defense is a lot different than the Suns defense. I'm telling you that
We'll
right
see.
now.
I think Dallas isn't being given enough credit. The
No, I
Warriors,
think they are. They have made a Cinderella run so far to the conference finals, but the Warriors are a buzzsaw and have been a buzzsaw for a long time.
Mhm.
So I mean, if they take, I'm not ruling it out that it could go to 6, but to say it could go to 7 in uncharted territory for the Mavericks, I don't think so.
They're playing with house money at this point. I'm sorry, they just shouldn't be where they are right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna be honest. They're just playing with house money.
Mhm. Yeah, no,
If
no
they
one
lose in
expected them
5,
to get
nobody
here.
will be going up in arms or anything.
No,
Yeah,
if
but-
they lose in 5, everyone will be like, "Wow, what a great run for the
Yeah,
Mavericks!"
yeah.
But they're gonna lose in
Yeah.
7.
They're playing with
Telling
house
you.
money. I can see this as a 2017 Celtics run, where
Which they
it
2017.
was
Okay, yeah.
just playing with house money, and then they just ran up to LeBron and
See, me personally, I see it as more of a 2018 Celtics run.
Ugh. Didn't they lose in the second round?
No, they lost
That
in
was
7
that was
games
Kyrie
in
and
the
Gordon
conference
came back.
finals. No,
I thought
that was
you mean-
2019.
Ethan, were you talking about the one where it was Tatum and Brown and it was Tatum's rookie
2017
season?
playoffs, the Celtics lost in the conference finals in 5 games with Isaiah
That was
Thomas.
Isaiah, yeah.
Oh, my bad.
2018.
27.
Yeah, he meant
2017, 2018. 2017, 2018.
Oh, yeah. So you
Celtics.
mean it's exactly like the 2018 Celtics who lost in 7 games in the
Yeah.
conference finals.
Yes.
It's exactly like that.
It's playing with house money. You're just playing with whatever you want. Yeah.
And
That's-
how many
that's how I see
games?
it.
How many games did the conference finals go?
They
7.
were playing
but I
Okay.
just,
All right. Yeah.
dude,
We're
but
also playing
I'm
arguably
sorry.
the
They
greatest
just-
player of all time and arguably his greatest
Yes.
form of his career.
And the Mavs are only
It-
playing the
it-
greatest point guard of all time.
You're
What's that?
playing the best point guard of our all time, arguably the second best.
Give me Magic, but
Magic.
okay, sure. The Mavericks are playing the greatest point guard of all time. This is gonna sound crazy. But the
Ridiculous.
Mavericks, I'm sorry, the Warriors are playing. I'm all befuddled. The Mavericks are playing the best point guard of all time, and like I said, this is gonna sound crazy, but the Warriors, they're playing the best white guy of all time. I'm saying it now. Larry Bird was a hooper, but by the time he retires, Luka will be better.
No.
That boy Luka's a problem.
Luka
Moving that
won't
to
crack the
side.
top 10.
Yes, he will.
So I don't know why you're trying to
Luka
claim
is
that.
a problem, and he will show it in this series, and that's why this series is going 7 games.
You haven't
Luka-
acknowledged it though.
they
We're
haven't
saying
been able to
Luka
build
can
a-
play crazy, but that doesn't
Yeah.
mean the rest of the team can keep up with the
Listen,
Warriors.
But I
If
think
the
they will.
Mavericks, if the Mavericks cannot build around Luka, Luka will never win a championship.
What do you mean
No,
if they
yeah.
And I will
cannot
stand
build?
by.
They
If
are
they,
building around him right now. They've made all the right moves this year.
I know, but we'll see what happens here.
Yeah,
But
we
I
will.
think that Luka could almost never win a championship.
That's very likely.
I mean, yeah, that's not an unpopular opinion.
So how is he going to crack the top 10 if he's never won a championship?
On an
Luka has to
individual
win multiple
level.
rings. He has to win
Yeah,
multiple
you got to
rings
win
get the top 10.
multiple.
On an individual level, he will have a top 10 career of all time.
That doesn't make sense to me. Just
No.
name me a guy without a ring that is individually a top 10 player.
That's like saying Carmelo.
Individually in the top 10 without a ring. Hold on,
Yes.
give me a second. Let me think of someone.
Not Iverson, not Barkley,
I
not
wasn't gonna say
Stockton.
Iverson. I wasn't gonna say
Actually, you
Barkley.
can make a case for Stockton. I'm not.
Yeah,
No,
you
Stockton's
could make
not-
an
no,
argument. You could make an argument for
top
Is
10.
Karl
Luka going to
Malone,
lead
for
the
Christ's sake.
all-time stats in 2 different categories?
For
I don't
top
think
10?
so.
You could make an
all
argument
time.
individually. Karl
Stockton?
Malone's
No.
top 10.
No,
I wouldn't know. Stockton's above.
Second
No.
all time in points.
him.
no.
Because of Stockton.
Hey,
That's
he's the
that's
one
true.
putting the ball in the hole.
You put his. Never mind. 12.
I think I know where that was going. So X factor for this series, you guys both say Wiggins.
Yeah.
I,
You know
I
who
say
I'm-
Wiggins, but okay, go ahead.
I'm going with Spencer Dinwiddie, and if not Dinwiddie, Reggie Bullock is going to be vital Vital to the Mavericks' success. If he's knocking down his threes and playing great defense on the wings of the Warriors, he's going to be the X factor. If he comes out and averages 7 and 4 or something, that is huge for Dallas.
We're talking about the X.
Yeah, the chick. This guy hair. His hair looks like.
Wasn't
this.
he
Yes,
the
that
point guard
Reggie
for
Bullock.
the? Wasn't he the point guard for the Magic?
Who? Oh,
At one point?
you're lost.
Oh,
right now,
Ethan,
I'm
you're
not gonna lie.
missed. You're
Was it
missing.
not Reggie Bullock?
Who are you?
I don't
thinking
even
of
blame
Trey
you though. It's
Burke or
Reggie Bullock.
something?
I wouldn't even blame you for
Reggie
not
Bullock
recognizing
used to
him.
be on the Lakers, the Knicks too, I think.
Was he on the Lakers? I just know him for the Knicks.
Tripping. I will do some research.
Sorry, I could have swore that he played for the.
Well, he's not a point guard, first of all.
He has played for the Clippers, Suns,
bad.
Pistons, Lakers, Knicks. Yeah.
Knicks. Okay.
Yeah,
I
Reggie
do remember
Bullock,
the
who
Lakers.
this playoffs has been averaging 10 points, 5 rebounds. He's going to be the X factor. His defense and shooting is the X factor.
Poor
for Dallas.
soul.
And he will be the reason it goes 7. Him and Luca. Okay, he won't be the reason. That sounds crazy to say. I'm
The
talking
dynamic
crazy.
duo of Reggie Bullock and Luca.
All I'm saying is watch out for Reggie Bullock.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
going to be really
He
important.
might sneak up on you with the whole 8 points.
Hey, he'll have at least one 18-point game in the series. That's my bold prediction. Reggie Bullock for 18. Same with Finney Smith. He's going to have a 20-point game.
Oh, so that's your bold prediction.
No.
What's your bold prediction for this
There's no way Finney Smith is cracking a 20.
Finney Smith is a hooper.
Nah,
20's
you
kinda-
could put Looney on him. That's all I gotta
Oh, come
say.
on, bro.
You gotta
Looney is a
put-
clown.
Don't disrespect 22 rebound Looney.
No, Looney's gonna get put on him. It's gonna be shut down.
Finney Smith had a 24 bomb against Phoenix.
That's Phoenix though.
64 win Phoenix.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at halftime. Phoenix.
That's one bad game.
Okay, so my bold prediction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I really have a bold prediction on this.
Oh, so
Whoa!
boo.
I think it's just gonna be
Boom.
an easy gentleman's sweep for the Raptors. Sorry,
Whoa.
my bad. My bad. For the
Okay,
Warriors,
Rod, I hope you have a bold prediction.
I have a really good one.
Okay.
I
It's gonna be Jalen
predict
Brunson.
bold predict. I'm not going to give any more love to Jalen Brunson than I already have in my lifetime. He's already exceeded my expectations. I predict that Jordan Poole, by the end of this series, will lead the series in total points scored. That is my bold prediction.
Do you think Jordan Poole is going to outscore Luca?
Yes. Well, it's a bold prediction.
That's not bold. That's just crazy. You think
I
Jordan
think
Poole's
it-
going to outscore Luca? Steph?
well, Golden
Didn't he
State
already
has a
outscore
couple
Steph?
players.
Man, Steph's a clown.
Oh,
We're talking about
Warriors
Luka.
have a couple people they could throw onto Luca.
that's what I'm saying. Don't be
First of
surprised
all,
if Luka averages like
Draymond.
24 this
You
season.
could put Draymond. I'm putting Clay on him for
The
starters.
Suns had the runner-up for Depoy on Luca. And he just got his switch, got Ayton, and took him. He said,
Bro,
"May I
but
have
you-
this dance?" And he
you-
danced.
You
We're
really
not talking
gonna,
about the Luka fatigue yet, though. It could set in at any moment.
Yeah, but what if it doesn't?
I think it does. I don't think it not setting in is a possibility.
Well, we'll have to see. Any closing statements about Mavericks Warriors or anything we've discussed throughout this episode?
the
Nothing?
runner-up Depoy with 13 points. Oh,
Well, no one's talking about his
Ooh.
offensive production. Talking about his defensive.
I don't know. He doesn't
Oh man,
scare
that
me.
13 points.
13
He's
points
really
for the
doing well
Depoy?
guarding Luka
Oh,
with them
well,
13 points. Like Luka, the best player left in this playoffs.
Nope.
won't matter when he's getting sent home in 5.
Yeah.
7.
No.
All right, well, thanks for taking the time and listening or watching to our inaugural episode of this podcast. I want to thank Ethan, Rod, myself for taking the time to put something really brilliant together.
All right, and please just come on, hit that subscribe, or at least give us some like so we can get recognized.
Please.
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 If this video gets enough love, we will bring our very large Very
Oh no,
smelly
don't say it.
friend.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I
That's
won't
gonna be
reveal his
special.
name.
Yeah.
And
You will shatter.
I'm
your
gonna sound like
expectations.
a high school English teacher here during quarantine, but it'd be nice if this podcast was like an open dialogue. In the comments, feel free to drop any comment about what you thought someone. If you think something Rod said was crazy, like Wiggins outperforming Steph in the playoffs, comment that. Say it. Let him know. Let me know. Let me know that I'm a genius for saying Luka is the best player left.
Yeah, Luka better than Steph.
And hey,
JJ's dumbass.
we'll do some comment reviews maybe if we get some good ones. So like, subscribe, and comment, and you can interact with us. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. Appreciate you all, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Next week.